have 20 minutes for showing for learning something about how to face an IoT project. Okay, this is going to be an example of how it could be part of a class, a real master class of the master. So if you can learn something, don't hesitate on doing it. First of all, for facing an IoT project is not especially different from other kinds of projects. Of course, it has its own particularities, and we're going to talk about them. But first of all, we have to cover the uncertainty of the project in three cornerstones. The project, or the product, or the company, at the end of the day, is mostly the same. It has to be something desirable. So someone has to want to buy or to use your product, your project, whatever you are doing. Okay. Secondly, it has to be feasible. So it will be good to do everything, but the technology is not always ready for doing whatever. Of course, day after day, the technology improves and helps us to approach to different stuff. But we have to check and we have to validate that our project is feasible in terms of technical requirements. Thirdly, and the last but not least, it has to be viable. It has to be viable economically speaking. So we are talking about projects, products, or companies, but the way those companies, projects, or products capture the value of the market is thanks to the money. So we deliver a product, we deliver a solution to the market, and the market returns to us the value as money. And thanks to that, we can keep on doing what we now have to do. So very important to cover the uncertainties of those three cornerstones. And keep on talking about uncertainty. For reducing the uncertainty, our tool, the resource, or what we can do is get information. And thanks to the information, we can reduce the uncertainty, is what we can see in this slide. At the very beginning, with a little bit of information, we can reduce a lot of uncertainty. After some time, after we start reducing that uncertainty, okay, we start needing a lot of information for reducing just a little bit of uncertainty. Uncertainty is not going to be 0, but it has to tend to 0, and we have to reduce as much uncertainty as we can to feel comfortable with our project. How we are going to get that information? Investing. Investing what? Investing resources. What kind of resources? Investing time, maybe some money, okay? But for sure, what we have to do is repeat that circle, that flow that we have in this slide. First of all, we have to build something. We have to build any kind of experiment that help us to reduce uncertainty. After delivering that build, after delivering whatever we have been done, we have to measure what's the results, what's the outcomes, the outputs that that build gives us. Once this is measured, it's time for the insights, it's time for learning. We have to learn whatever result we have received. And with that information, we are ready to rebuild, to start again. And we have to repeat that circle, build, measure, learn, build, result, learn, as many times as we need for feeling comfortable with the amount of uncertainty that we have pending to resolve. Okay, so this is make a business, convert or invest to reduce the uncertainty. In a product life cycle, at the end of the day, it's the same cycle for a product or for a project or for a company. We can distinguish 3 steps, 3 stages, or 3 phases. Doesn't matter how you call it, it's going to be the same. First of all, we are going to find a problem in the world where it's worth to solve it. And this stage is called problem-solution fit. Okay? Once this is done, once we have find a problem for which we have a solution, okay, what we are going to do is jump to the next step, which is product market fit. So what's the output of the problem solution fit will be the MVP requirements that we are going to develop and consolidate like a product in the product market fit phase. And in those 2 phases, our goal is to learn from the market what we have to do for giving or for delivering value. And it's not the proper time for earning money. Maybe you are going to earn some money in those stages, but this is not the purpose. The purpose is not growing, the purpose is learning. And this is the reason because it's not the proper time for raising fundings. It's not the proper time for incorporating investors in your project. Why do I say that? Because the proper time is once you have validated that your product solves some whatever problem and the market wants to pay for it, once you have validated that, it's time to scale. It's time to deliver your value to more people. And this is the proper time for raising fundings, because at that time, your goal is aligned with the investor's goal. At the very beginning, your goal was learning, and the investor's goal is always growing. So you are not aligned with the investor goal. At this point, in the scale point, you and the investor, both of you, wants to grow. So the investor will receive what they want, which is earn money. And you are going to get that, and you are going to accelerate the scale process thanks to the investment. If you start with a seed capital for finding or for fitting your problem solution stage or for consolidating your product market fit, it could be okay, but you have to be clear and honest with investors, because in the other way, you are not going to feel comfortable with the relationship with the investor, because no one expects the same in that stage. And how we can advance, how we can validate our problem solution fit stage. We can do that thanks to the proof of concept. Okay, we are going to use proof of concepts for validating our assumptions, our uncertainties about the problem solution fit. And this is very important because I have seen a lot of people trying to develop a minimum viable product from the very beginning of their project. And this is not health, this is not sustainable, because the first thing that you have to do is validate your assumptions. You cannot you cannot invest on delivering a minimum viable product without being validated that your assumptions are true. And for validating those assumptions, what you have to do is experiments. What you have to do is go out and recover real feedback from the market, real feedback from the world, not your, let me say, you cannot stop believing in your assumptions, because assumptions are nothing else than something that you have to validate. Okay? So how we can define that problem solution fit stage? At the end of the day, what we are doing at that stage is looking for the answer of those two questions. And the answer, it has to be positive. In the other way, we cannot go ahead. The questions: is there a problem worth solving? Is there something around the world which is worth solving? And do I have a solution for that problem? When we have yes, we have found a problem worth solving, and yes, we have a solution for that problem, it's time for jumping to the product market fit stage. Okay, and what is our IoT project uncertainty? This is, in this slide, we have the different layers, the stack of whatever IoT project, okay? And the question is, in that stack, where are the uncertainties? And the uncertainties are everywhere, in each layer, So from bottom up, things, layer one, which devices we are going to use, which sensors we are going to select, which are the best controllers for using in whatever are our requirements. After that, how those sensors are going to be connected, which communication technologies, protocols we are going to use. All of those are uncertainties from that fog computing stage. Once this is solved, we jump to other level or other layer of uncertainties, which is the cloud uncertainties. So the things are connected to a global infrastructure, but which is going to be the storage that we're going to use. Are we going to use a data lake? This connects that layer with the next one, which is the data ingestion. Okay, so more uncertainties. And in the next level, once we have the data here, what we have to do is analyze the data, extract the insights from the data. So what's the reporting system that we're going to implement? What are the machine learning techniques that we can use for extracting value from the data? So again, more and more uncertainties for validating. But at the top of the stack, we have the business value. And this is the main mistake of the proof of concepts that I have seen around. Okay? This is not the less valuable part. This is the most important part of the proof of concept. So don't validate other layers before that stage. Layer 6 and layer 7, applications, people, and processes, are the most important layers to validate in an IoT project, because these are the layers which make sense, which gives real value to human beings, to the users, to the systems related with our solution. So the solution will be perceived thanks to those layers, and the rest of layers are pure commodity. The end users rarely are going to put in value whatever technology that you put in big data, in cloud, or in fog layers. They don't care of that. The important thing is how you deliver the value to the users, okay? How you change, how you improve those processes thanks to the applications, okay? So phase, firstly, and during all the stages of the project, phase your proof of concepts for validating, first of all, the business value. Because during time, the technologies that you are going to use in big data, cloud, and fog are going to change. But the business value is the part that makes sense. Okay? Sorry. How can I track the progress solving uncertainty in IoT projects? Let me introduce one of the techniques available around for solving or for mapping the IoT requirements or for mapping the IoT uncertainties. Okay, this is called mapping the IoT toolkit. It's a Creative Commons project available in that URL, mapping the IoT.polimi.it. As you can see in that picture, it's let me say there is a lot of forms, a lot of cards, and at the end of the day, it's a guided way of delivering or developing an IoT project. Okay, so I invite you to go to that URL for finding the project, and with the few minutes that we have in this class, we are going to see how we can face an hypothetical IoT project. In this case, it's as you can see, it's a smart key ring project. So we are going to design a system for finding the keys when we lost it. And thanks to the mapping IoT toolkit, we are going to see how we reduce the uncertainty of this project. Of course, we are not going to have time to go so deep, but you are going to get the main ideas about how to go deep with that hypothetical project. The phase 0 of that mapping toolkit is identify the starting point and main design challenge. In our case, it could be 2 sentences as simple as those. The first one, I want to design a smart key ring for finding house keys. As simple as that. This is our starting point. And the main design challenge, it could be something like, it must be easy and simple enough for being used by my mother. Big challenge, not always easy. Okay, then step one, explore the topic. So gather a background knowledge for the project that we are facing. Okay, at this point, at the end of the day, what we want to find proper sources of information. We want to identify key players of this market before we came to that market, and trends and experimentations of the market. The toolkit suggests us different ways of solving it, but for giving just an applied example of what we can get thanks to the toolkit, one thing that we can always do, and usually we forget that we can do, is look it up on Facebook, on Google, about if this is a real problem in the world. Then I go to Google and look it up for how many people lost keys. And just the first entry gives us a very relevant information. Every year, there are over 20 million keys that are lost in the US. Wow, not bad, not bad. So there is a real problem behind that. But if we spend much more time looking it up around, we can find other information or relevant information, like a total of 3.6 thousand hours or 153 days is spent searching for stuff over our lifetimes. Wow, not bad, not bad. So very relevant information that reduce our uncertainty if our smart key ring makes sense or not. Secondly, about the players, maybe we can go out and interview the police lost and found office, or maybe we can go to the market for locksmith market and services and try to understand what they do for helping people who lost keys. And there are much more brainstorming alternatives that you can use. Of course, again, for trends and experimentations, you can go to the Google for helping. Now, the second step is gathering information about users, contexts, and needs. Again, the toolkit gives us some powerful questions for helping us. Again, go out. And in this case, for example, go out to street and ask and talk with people who is walking around. Just ask them open questions like, what do you do when you lost your keys? And be open to understand what the people does when they are searching their keys, because for sure you are going to learn a lot about the insights of the market that you are facing. And as always, don't forget that you can go to Google for gathering more information. Other things that gives to us the IoT toolkit is those cards that we have seen in the picture. Here I captured some of them. Those cards are grouped in different chapters or in different subjects, okay? And they have a lot of powerful questions which allow us to research about the subject. For example, just taking a look randomly to some of them. For example, here we have updates and obsolescence. So some powerful questions for validating if our product will be obsolete in some time, or for example, what are the key resources that we have to take care, the key metrics that we have to consider, how we can decide the price and competition. So there are a lot of those cards that in the front part of the card, we have the general idea, and in the back part of the card, we have powerful questions for helping us to research in each of those subjects. If you are not a technical company or you don't have a technical team for helping you with the IoT project, I want to give you an advice about that, okay? First, or maybe very, very, very important, you don't need a technical team for being success on an IoT project. But for sure, you have to spend as much time as you can finding, talking, evaluating, checking, testing, engineering, and prototyping companies, because they are going to be a key partner for you for being successful with your project. So in this master, we are going to learn a lot of things about technology, but not for doing things by yourself. Are going to learn those things for properly deciding who has to be your partner in the process of developing an IoT project, and you have enough knowledge for evaluating proper partners in each stage of your project. At the end of your project, what you have to, at the end of this iteration, what you have to do is convert your raw data to meaningful insights. An example of that could be, as you can see here, analyzed data says people can lose their keys, but usually they don't lose their mobile phone. This is an hypothesis. That's with something that we can learn, an insight that we can get analyzing data. But what it will be the product requirement of that analyzed data, of that insight that we can get with a proof of concept? It could be use smartphone communication technologies for locating the keys. For instance, you can use Bluetooth Low Energy for locating your keys. This is something that you can do thanks to the process. And of course, we can iterate that once and again and go deep, take a look to different forms that the toolkit has, take a deeper look to the cards, but our time is exhausted. And the best that I can say for you now is, do you want to convert your smart product idea to a profitable product? Then this master is your opportunity. Don't miss it. And we wait for you.